My friends, on this special day of Chav Zayin, other 27th day of Adar, let us put some extra tzedakah so that we should merit the imminent revelation. Now, why is today, the 27th of Adar, so special? 31 years ago, in 1992, on a Monday, on the 27th of Adar, the Rebbe, as he would often do, would go to the Oyel, the resting place of his late father-in-law, where he would stand for hours and hours and hours and pray for the well-being of every single Jew and every single issue around the world. Unfortunately, this time, instead of returning with his usual driver, Rabbi Krinsky, he returned by ambulance, having suffered a major, massive stroke. And from that moment on, he lost the faculty of speech, never to regain it. What's very interesting, we know that nothing happens with the Rebbe without his permission. And the Rebbe hinted it to such an occurrence. And this was once during the Farbrengen on Yud Shvat, about a month and a half prior to the event, and then just 2 days on the Shabbos before that Monday. On Yud Shvat, which is when we celebrate the Histalkus of the previous Rebbe, and when the Rebbe became Rebbe in 1951, the Rebbe spoke about the fact that the previous Rebbe, in the last years of his physical life down here in this world, lost or had a tremendous impediment on his speech. And the Rebbe asked, why was that? After all, a Rebbe is all about teaching. How come that this most important thing of his life was taken away from him? And the Rebbe went on to explain that this is a message that it is for us to become the Rebbe's mouthpiece. It is for us to share all the teachings that the Rebbe has taught us. Now what's interesting, for 40 years, over 40 years, the Rebbe spoke about Yud Shvat, about the passing of the previous Rebbe, and never has he approached this subject of the previous Rebbe's speech impediment. Just briefly, shortly before it happened to him, he spoke about it, obviously telling us what is expected from us today, when the Rebbe cannot physically speak to us, that it is us, it behooves on us to be his mouthpiece. And what does the Rebbe want us to share? So let us look what he said in the last speech. On the Shabbos prior to Chav Zayin Adar, which was Shabbos, we read the Parsha Vayakel, just as we did this year, where sometimes it's read Vayakel Pekudei together as we had this year, and sometimes it's separate. And the Rebbe said the following, that Vayakel and Pekudei are paradoxical. Vayakel, which begins with telling how Moses assembled the children of Israel, refers to assembly, related to a group, to the kehillah, to the community. Pekudei begins with an audit of the sanctuary's components, meaning he counted things. The emphasis on the item within the whole and the individual within the community. In other words, explained the Rebbe, Vayakel and Pekudei express the contrasting values of community and individuality, and the need to unify them both, to build a community that fosters rather than suppresses the individuality of its members, and to cultivate an individual that contributes rather than conflicts with the communal whole. Then the Rebbe asked a question. If that is the case, why does Vayakel come before Pekudei? Don't we first need to develop and perfect the individual before hoping to make a healthy communities out of him and his fellows? And says the Rebbe, no, that's exactly the point. Make communities even before you have perfect individuals. People are not bricks or gears, which must be individually forged to perfection before they can be assembled together in a constructive way. People are souls, with the potential for perfection implicit within them. And nothing brings out a soul's potential as much interacting and uniting with other souls. imperfect individuals brought together in love and fellowship make perfect communities. So today, 31 years later, when we still do not hear the words of the Rebbe, it behooves on us to go out and spread that message. The importance of the individual, the importance of the one mitzvah, the importance of the one act. And this together will bring the ultimate community. When it would be, as it says regarding Mashiach, Va'atem to look till echad echad. Mashiach will gather every individual and from this make the complete and whole community. With the Rebbe physically back with us in the Beis HaMikdash. Eibishter, Chav Zayin, which represents Zach, purity. It would be wonderful to see the purity of the Beis HaMikdash today.